KIA, killed in action. My mom brought the car seat by earlier, so I strapped Major in and finished packing up our stuff. I just sat on the end of the bed, waiting to be discharged, when out the corner of my eye I saw two uniformed men standing in front of my door. At first I thought it was Joey standing there, but when I blinked, his face faded away. They just stood staring at me as if they were waiting for permission to enter. "Hello, please come in." The two men stepped apart and an older man walked in. He and the two others were wearing the same all-white military uniform. The two younger men followed silently behind and stood in the back against the wall.
"Are you Mrs. Hunter?"
"Yes, I am Haley Hunter."
"Mrs. Hunter?"
The man started to say before I cut him off. "Just Haley, please."
"Ma'am, my name is Lieutenant Colonel Azriel Urban. These two gentlemen and I had the privilege of working closely with your husband, Josiah. I'm afraid I came here with some bad news."
"Is Joey okay?" I asked, starting to get a weird tingle on the back of my neck.
"Ma'am, Mrs. Hun, Haley, you may want to take a seat,"
the man said, motioning toward the leather chair in the corner. "You're making me nervous. Is Joey in some kind of trouble?"
"Well, no, ma'am, not exactly. Your husband was involved in an accident."
"I see. Is Joey all right? When can I see him?"
37 hours ago, PFC Hunter and his team were on a mission. Their convoy was attacked by enemy fire. The driver of your husband's Humvee swerved to avoid colliding with the tanks in front of them, and they struck an IED. There were no survivors. I'm so sorry, ma'am. PFC Hunter was KIA.
KIA? At the time, I had no idea what it stood for, but chills ran down my arms and the back of my legs as I said it.
Killed in action, ma'am.
I felt my body go cold, and I didn't realize that I was holding my breath until I started to sway. My body gasped for air, but my brain was paused. It was like someone pulled out my power cord and I was left there on standby mode. I just stood there limp, unsure of what was still holding me up. I closed my eyes and told myself that this was a joke. Some kind of cruel, awful joke, and that Joey was going to jump out from behind them and yell "Gotcha." The man walked up and caught me before I even knew I was falling over. He sat me on the chair and held my hand.
"Call for a nurse and get the chaplain in here now,"
he commanded to the two men standing behind him. So many questions rushed through my mind. Pop rushed into the room moments later crying and just held on to me for a while. They must have contacted him first to break the news. Hannah walked in minutes behind Pop, having already heard the news too. She just sat at the end of the bed, unsure of what to say. We rode the elevator in silence, and I walked out of the hospital, feeling like I had left a piece of myself back in the room. I didn't cry. I did not make a single sound until we got to my apartment door. I unlocked the door and set my sleeping son inside. "I just need some time. Alone," I said, turning to Hannah. "I don't think that's a good idea," she started before I raised my hand ever so calmly to cut her off. "It's what I need, please." I walked in the door and locked it behind me. Later that evening, when I had a moment, I started taking Major's things out of the bag we got from the hospital. A stack of papers slid down the side of the bag, and I picked up Major's name card and birth certificate. I placed them on the table for now, planning to frame them later. I walked over and sat back down to fold the blankets, and when I shook one, an unaddressed envelope fell out. I opened it up, and when I realized what it was, I grew furious. I took the damn form and crumbled it up as hard as I could. I launched my husband's death certificate with all my might across the room in a rage and cursed Josiah Leland Hunter II for leaving me. I wanted so badly to break down, but I didn't. I couldn't. I was a mother now, and I had someone depending on me. I had to be strong for my son. The first night alone in the apartment with a newborn was the hardest. I was able to teach myself fairly quickly how to get us both into a routine. I nursed Major every 2 hours, burped him, changed him, held him, bathed him, and loved him. When he slept, I slept. When he was awake, I was up. I did everything a good mother could to keep him happy. Luckily for me, maternal instincts kicked in right away, and I felt as if I knew exactly what to do and how to do it. The second night, I could not get Major to sleep for anything, and I was all around exhausted. He cried for 30 minutes straight before I heard the neighbors start playing their instrument. Major heard it too, and for a split second stopped wailing. When it stopped, he started crying again. I took him out into the hallway to hear it louder, and the echo made it feel like we were front row at a symphony. I grabbed a towel and sat on my steps for hours with Major resting on my legs. I heard a door creak open and attempted to get up before they reached the stairs to go down. "I'm sorry. Just give me 1 second to move," I said without looking up.
Haley?
Go-Go?
Yes, of course. Who else?
When I looked up, I saw the small black case she was carrying. "You're the one who plays the flute at night?"
Clarinet, actually. I work until midnight most days, and I only have time to practice when I get home.
"Well, it sounds amazing." "He loves it," I said, gesturing towards my sleeping baby boy.
I didn't know you had a baby.
"Yeah, he was just born."
Look, I know we haven't exactly seen eye to eye, but I just wanted to tell you that I'm really sorry about what happened to your husband.
"Thanks, it really means a lot," I said, winking back emotion. I saw Go-Go in a different light that day, and she saw me differently too. She would come over a couple times a week after work and play her clarinet for Major and I. If he fell asleep, she'd stay while I showered or did some household chores. I paid her with hot, late-night meals. Besides, I hated cooking and eating by myself. It was nice to have her there, and I appreciated the conversation. I talked all day to Major, but it was mostly one-sided. One evening, I really just wanted some space, but Major was being a bit fussy tonight. While I was feeding him, I felt a sudden urge to urinate. I lifted him off the boppy, got up, popped my nipple from his mouth, and set him in the bassinet. Just as I got into the bathroom, he made a shrill, shrieking sound that had my hair standing on end. I ran back to him without a second thought. I didn't know if he was scared or hungry, maybe both. All I knew was that I really, really had to take a leak. I decided to hold it and pop my boob back in his mouth. Several minutes later, he was still suckling, and I felt like my bladder was going to explode. Instead of putting him down and letting him cry, I stood in the shower holding him and pissed my pants. That was the first time I truly felt like I couldn't do this alone. It must have taken me that long to process Joey's death because I stood there thinking of him, while I was in the shower soaked with my own urine. I stared at the ceiling so that my son wouldn't see the tears falling down my face. I vowed to never cry again, in front of my child. I was the rock now, even if I did not want to be. Part of being strong was admitting when you need help, so I called my mom. "Hey Mom, do you and Hannah want to come over?"
"We're on the way,"
she said, and hung up. They were at my door in 30 minutes, and I opened the door, welcoming them. My mom had food, and Hannah had 2 big bags of clothes that she had bought for Major after she found out he was a boy. I was so incredibly grateful because I did not have the strength to go clothes shopping for him yet. I didn't even want to leave the house most days. They agreed to keep Major company while I took a real shower. It had been way too long since I'd shaved, and I was feeling rather gross. I took a long shower, washed my hair, and shaved all the parts that I'd been neglecting. While I was in the shower, I heard a knock at the door, but I just assumed it was Jade. When I got done getting dressed, I expected to find her and Ms. Meredith sitting on my sofa, but they weren't. "Did someone knock on the door?" I asked, looking at Hannah.
"I thought so, but when I opened it, no one was there. I saw this on the ground, and it had your name on it, so I brought it in,"
Hannah said, handing me the envelope that was sitting next to her. "Great, just what I need," I moaned as I opened the taped envelope and pulled out an orange piece of paper.
"What is it?"
My mom asked from the kitchen. "It's a letter telling me that the rent is late.